Our next speaker is Professor Chu from China. His topic is market opportunity and R&D challenge of composite industry in China. Professor Chu.
Oh, get rid of this. Let me minimize this. Okay. So, good morning. Well, this is actually very early morning in China. We probably, well, it's actually just early morning, I want to say. My name is Yiping. Actually, I'm the president of SAMPE mainland China region. I'm also a professor in Donghua University in Shanghai. My talk today is the market opportunity and the R&D challenge of composite industry in China. In China, what's been happening is attracting a lot of attention, as the previous speaker said. You know, everything other than China. So it means that we are actually doing a lot of things. But most importantly, in my opinion, is that actually the Chinese government declared in the United Nations that by 2030, China will reach carbon peak, and by 2060, China will reach carbon neutral. So it's a very ambitious goal, of course. And so we have to take solid actions from now on. So if you look at what I'm going to talk about today is actually everything around energy. So try to cut down energy consumption or try to use alternative energy. So we actually have to make a lot of effort, and in which carbon fiber and carbon fiber composite materials will be widely used. And in fact, we have a huge market here. And if you look at the first one I want to talk about is the wind turbine, as it's been discussed so far in the previous presentation, that the wind turbine industry is growing very fast in China. And we actually, we surpassed the United States in 2010 for the first time, ranking #1 in the world. And ever since then, we have been the #1 in the world. And we have a capacity, we have a very large capacity. We have 4,000 wind power plants, means that you have fields of wind power generators together to form a plant. And also we have 120,000 wind power generators with a capacity of 200 million kilowatts. So it's increasing very fast. I'm not going to read through all of these, but accumulatively, we have more than 2 million. And also because the wind turbine is becoming ever larger. And so it reached, 300 meters height. So the wind turbine blade is very large. And in that case, that we see that carbon fiber glass mixture is being used to support these very large blades, also discussed in the previous presentation. And so this is why carbon fiber is more and more used in the wind power generator. And I think the blades are becoming larger and larger to make it more efficient. In that case, carbon fiber will have to be used in a larger, ever increasing amount. And if you look at the trend, in fact, it's predicted in 2028, we have in North America, it will be like almost 100% of carbon fiber usage in wind turbine blades. And in Asian Pacific nations, it will reach 92%. So it's very high. And if you look at the carbon fiber demand in wind turbine blade, it will reach 93,000 metric ton. So that it's a lot of in 2025. It's a lot of capacity requirement. And of course, wind turbine, in that industry, we also use some recycled fibers and thermoplastic matrix to make it recyclable, but it has nothing to do with carbon fiber, of course. And the other thing is that with this ever increasing size of wind turbine, we found that we will have to use online monitoring system for this generator. For example, we will have to have like a blade module with sensors and a wheel hub module and the turbine module, all with sensors wired up to a remote server and finally to the user. So that's actually a trend. So this so much about the wind turbine. And now let's talk about hydrogen energy. Now that's also being discussed in the previous presentation, that there will be a huge increase in hydrogen energy. So if we look at the output value, like in 2019, this is actually in China. Okay, I'm not only talk about China. That and you can see an increase. Currently, 300 billion Chinese yuan. 6 Chinese yuan is equal to $1 US. So basically, if you divide it by 6, and it'll be like 50 billion US dollars. And so it's going to be increased to 12,000 billion or 12 trillion actually Chinese yuan, which is about it's about 2 trillion US dollars in long term. That's the output value for hydrogen industry. So it's very, very large industry. And so we're going to have a lot of hydrogen generation stations and also fuel cell vehicles and fixed power power station and fuel cell systems. So you can see the increase, 23 versus 10,000 in 2050. We have almost no fuel cell vehicle running, in the street, but we're going to have 5 million predicted in 2050. So it requires a lot of hydrogen high pressure tank and also power stations. It's not carried by vehicles, but it's used in industry and also fuel cell systems. These are also used for the industry. So if you look at the actually distribution, if you look at the transportation side, we have we're going to have 7% of the total commercial vehicles sold in 2030 using fuel cell, and 37, which is about 1/3 of the vehicles, commercial vehicles, will be actually fuel cell vehicles. And fuel cell passenger vehicles will be 3% by 2030 and 14% by 2050. So it's quite a lot, actually. You're considering that China has 1.4 billion people, and with probably every 2 person will have probably 1 vehicle, if we said that. And then it will be a lot, actually, passenger vehicles. And overall energy consumption for the transportation, hydrogen energy will expected to account for 19% of the total energy consumption in 2050, of which 70% is the freight transportation. Now, the other thing very important is actually for industry applications. For example, for the steel industry, we talk about steel is going out, but we're still using a lot of steel. But you have to also take a look at this, because hydrogen energy will be used for the steel industry, expected to be 34% of the total energy consumption by 2050, and reaching 76 million tons of standard coal. And also for the chemical industry, and it's expected to reach the peak in 2030, and the hydrogen energy consumption 105 million tons of standard coal. then the hydrogen energy consumption may decrease due to a decrease in the overall production of chemical industry. But hydrogen energy consumption is expected to remain unchanged at 87 million tons of standard coal per month in 2050 now. Why is that important? Because hydrogen, in the hydrogen production, hydrogen storage, and hydrogen transportation, we need high pressure vessels. It's actually a lot. And for example, you have stationary hydrogen storage system, and you have on board carried by vehicles, these high pressure vessels, and obviously hydrogen transportation system requires a lot of high pressure vessels. What these look like? In fact, if you look at the pressure vessels using carbon fiber wounded pressure vessels, and currently you have type 2, type 3, and type 4 kind of high pressure vessels, and all round up with carbon fiber. So it requires a lot of carbon fiber for these pressure vessels. And these are applications for the high pressure hydrogen storage vehicles. And obviously you can see the fuel cell hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, and also spare power. It requires hydrogen, and the hydrogen fuel cell ship is going to be more and more popular for environmental purpose. And obviously unmanned hydrogen powered unmanned aerial vehicles, and also high pressure hydrogen container and a portable hydrogen generation truck. All these will require high pressure hydrogen storage vessels. And in the this is actually a slide from China National Building Materials Group for the hydrogen storage transportation products, and they actually produce all these and the high pressure vessels for fuel cell vehicle and for the fuel cell unmanned aerial vehicle, and for the hydrogen transportation, and also for hydrogen. This is the long steel large containers and the hydrogen storage container for the hydrogen stations. So basically, just like gas stations, we also have hydrogen stations for vehicles, especially for the passenger cars. You need to replace the gas stations with hydrogen generation station. So it's expected that the global and Chinese market is going to grow very fast, and global fuel cell vehicle sales forecast will reach in 2032, which is not very far away, 5 million fuel cell vehicles, and global fuel cell sales will actually reach 250 billion US dollars, in which obviously the high pressure vessel made out of carbon fiber will be a very important part of it. So, and demand for carbon fiber and composite material is large, according to the Global Carbon Fiber Composite Materials Market Report 2020. The hydrogen and CNG tank bottle will expect to require 180,000 tons of carbon fiber by 2030. So seems to be very optimistic in that sense. The demand for the equipment formed by high-end winding molding is growing very rapidly. So if you look at the prediction for the newly added hydrogen generation station from 20 to 25, 200, and beyond that to 2030 will be 700, and then 2030 to 2050 will be 10,000. So the growth is very, very fast. And vehicles as well, you can see this number grow from 5 to 400 times 10,000 here. Okay, the unit is times 10,000. So this is also 10,000, 20 to to 1,000, which is actually let's see, this is actually 12 million. Yeah, hydrogen storage bottles, 12 million. That's a lot. So all these zero means that we have huge increase. This is how much. This is about 200 times as much. So this increase is very, very large, 40 to 1,800. That's also about let's see, about 50 times as much. So if you look at the carbon fiber demand in, let's see, 2021, 2020 is 8,800, 8,800 metric tons, and it will reach 21,897 tons of carbon fiber demand. So next one is actually EV, or we call it in China new energy vehicles. In fact, if you look at the ownership, new energy vehicle ownership statistics, it actually increased very fast. Sorry, it's a typo here. It should be at 2015 because 21 seems to be very far away. Okay, anyway, it increased from 2015, 42, let's say, this is actually times 10K. So it should be, sorry, it should be 420,000 to about 5 million. The new energy vehicle ownership. Now, the reason for the rapid growth, one of the reasons I want to say, is because that Chinese government is trying to control the pollution in the big cities like Shanghai and Beijing. So they started to limit the registration plates being distributed to the new vehicles. Now, in Shanghai, for example, if you try to buy a car, which is very easy, but the trouble is the registration plate is not easy to obtain. So, but if you buy a new energy vehicle, electric powered vehicle, then you are able to get the registration plate immediately. So nowadays in Shanghai, for example, you can see very many of these electric powered passenger cars are running in street. All the public bus are actually electric powered vehicles, all of them in Shanghai. And in big and medium sized cities, all these vehicles are actually electric powered. So, but why that is important is because we will have to worry about the automotive, like the weight of the automobiles. Now, so the previous speaker said that, if you think about what you can do to reduce the weight of these cars, and you have to cut down the weight, you have to replace steels, aluminum, and even glass fiber with carbon fiber. That's the only way that you can reduce the weight. And by doing so, in fact, you can increase the chip that can be made by one battery, one battery pack. So, for example, if the total weight is close to 1 ton, then you can travel with 275 kilometers. But if you have increased by 50%, you can only travel 186 kilometers. Now that's one of the problems that people are complaining about electric powered cars, is because that they are not running far away enough. So so for the family use, it's okay, but for taxi and Uber like cars, then it becomes a problem, because people would they cannot make money if they have to wait for like 2 hours for recharging. So it's always a problem, for the vehicle weight. So this is why in China it becomes very, very popular. And I think the prediction of of electric powered vehicle is probably conservative, because I think the growth will be tremendously high. So in fact, you see the weight reduction and the fuel saving and the carbon emission. For carbon composites, it's always the largest. So this is actually why carbon fibers are going to be used more and more widely. Obviously, you have a problem that the cost, but I would say that the cost of carbon fiber will be decreased continuously, but may not be as much as people would like. But I think it will be decreased over the time, and think about the benefits you get from it. And I think the carbon fiber is really the best choice. Okay, so these are the composite material parts, and in fact, Chinese automobile manufacturers are actually making a lot of efforts try to reduce the weight. Now this is a BMW. I think some of the Chinese car manufacturers are working very hard, try to develop similar products, but it's not easy, of course. I'd say that because of the pressure from the market, they're going to quickly develop technologies required for this kind of vehicles. And so if you look at the carbon fiber demand increase, the global increase will be like by 2024 it will reach 18,000 tons of carbon fiber demand, and this I think is probably going to be even more, because the demand for carbon fiber for automobiles and real transportation in 2030 is conservatively estimated at 90,000 to 100,000 tons, or 1 million tons. I'm sorry. So it's 100,000 tons. I'm sorry. So you never know, like how much carbon fiber demand is going to be reached in future. And the last one I want to talk about is actually the photovoltaic industry. And you'll be surprised that seems that this is related to silicon, but since the alternative energy is actually at very high demand, so solar energy seems to be a very important part of it. So China has the largest PV market, which is currently is the #1 in the world. More than, well, actually, if you look at this number, seems that Chinese market is larger than the summation of the other two, EU and USA. So, and it's still growing. That's the thing. Now, why would that be important for carbon fiber industry? Is actually, if you look at the crucible now for photovoltaic crucibles, which is used to make a silicon, single crystal silicon. Now the furnace used to be made out of quartz, which is kind of a silicon. But the trouble is that the lifetime for these quartz crucible is not very long. So if we replace it with carbon actually crucible, then the lifetime can be extended more, and it actually costs less in that sense. So So this is actually a very large market. If you look at the carbon fiber demand for the industry, it actually goes up. If we replace 50% of the current crucible, and it will reach 13,000. Let's see, what is the let's see. Now this is actually the predicted by the tons. Yeah, 13,000 tons. And if you replace 100% of this coarse crucible, then you will get to 26,973 tons of the carbon fiber. So because one gigawatt photovoltaic installation requires 147 tons of carbon fiber if you replace the crucible. So it's a very large market right there. And I don't know what is the end, but because of the lifetime and the expenses of the coarse crucible, and carbon fiber carbon composite replacement is a very good alternative and economically feasible. So that's the market that we need to pay attention to. And this is actually the global carbon fiber demand for crucible in photovoltaic industry from 2021 to 2030. And if you look at this, and this is actually 142 tons of carbon fiber demand for
Professor
crucible. Okay,
you have 2 minutes left.
Okay, so I think I'll be very quickly going through the challenges. And challenges. First one is the cost of wind power, which needs to be further decreased. Now, second is that we need to have all these systematic development for the testing, advanced materials application, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to go through everything. And finally, recycling. And for the high pressure vessel, and we still have a lot of challenges, all technologies, inspection, and so on and so forth. And for the new vehicles, we also have a lot of challenge. For example, it has to be easy to operate, powerful simulation system, and a low cost carbon fiber, and the application and popularization of thermoplastic, low cost composite material processing, and so on, reliable, and finally recycling. So these are the things that Chinese industry is facing, and I think we still have a very long way to go, but the future is bright. Okay, thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you, Professor Chiu. I know the time difference between the US East and your time, like 13 hours.